Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. I have been putting videos online for a year now, making various paper craft items, and over the course of that year, while some projects have been successful and these have made it to YouTube, there have been a number of projects which for various reasons have actually been destined for the bin. This may be because what I have in my head is not actually going to work in reality, or it may be because of the way I've tried to construct the item,
or I haven't paid enough attention to the basics.
So today's video is a bit of a back to basics box making 101. I do say during my videos that of course you can resize any of them, but I am aware that not everyone has the confidence in order to resize any of the projects. I'm also aware that some of my projects are quite meaty in terms of their size, and as we get towards the festive season, you may be looking to make smaller boxes for your gifts. And I'd like to show you how you can make the same size box and have two different looks to it, and also how I go about working out how much cardstock I need for the box size that I want to make. So if the video isn't for you, then thanks for stopping by and hopefully I'll see you in the next project. But if you think that there might be something useful, then please stick with me. The foundation of any good papercraft project, whether it be a 3D project, a box, or even a card, is of course the cardstock. And not all cardstock is created equally. And I don't mean in terms of the weight, I mean in terms of the actual quality of the cardstock. If you watch the Starbox video, you may recall that whilst I was happy with the overall look of the box once it had been decorated, I was disappointed in that the cardstock that I'd used was not of a good enough quality for the style of this box. Cardstock itself did not hold up to the folding and the burnishing, and the overall look was not as crisp as I would have liked. My first tip would be, depending on the style of box you're making, consider
not just the weight of the cardstock, but whether it can withstand any folds and score lines, etc.
So we've started with our base cardstock, we've cut our cardstock down to size, and we now need to do our scoring. Some trimmers I appreciate, and I see a lot of them on YouTube, have a scoring blade within the trimmer. My trimmer doesn't have that facility. My go-to scoreboard is this hunky-dory scoreboard. My tips are, remember to clean it once in a while. I use a paintbrush which I run down the tracks, and I can feel that my scoreboard does actually need to clean, and I would therefore spray it with rubbing alcohol where I needed to get rid of any of this crusty residue which is on the top. You can probably hear that. My top tip in terms of the scoreboard would be, if you can, mark one of the tracks. I've got my 6-inch track here marked with a Sharpie, and that has come up very helpful when over the course of the year I've had to score on the diagonal. I've been able to line my cardstock up with the 6-inch track at whatever angle I've needed. Once you've scored your card, your next stage is going to be folding and burnishing. The better burnish you can get, the more likely it is that your piece is going to come together and look more professional at the end. And when you burnish, I'm just going to score this cardstock. So you can see I've got the groove in this edge here, and on the underside I've got the lump. And I believe that the correct way of burnishing is that you fold the cardstock in towards the lump and then burnish. And that will give you a nice crisp fold on the top, which then in itself makes it easier to cut along the score line and makes the score line less lumpy. When we're making any of the projects, we want to, as far as possible, try and cut away the score line. And this might be by cutting to the right hand side of the score line and then to the left hand side of the score line, and then just removing the inner piece. So you can see here I've cut the score line away, and that will give a neater look to your projects. I have received a couple of questions in relation to the glue that I use. The white glue that I use is this Tonic Nouveau Deluxe adhesive, which dries clear, and my go-to construction glue is Kalal All Purpose, which if you leave it for 24 hours, it really adds some strength to your project. So this would be my recommendation. I am heavy-handed with my glue. It's something I'm aware of, something I'm trying to work on slowly. My glue eraser over the months has been a godsend. Sometimes we're very eager to jump onto the next stage of a project, and the truth of the matter is we need to let things dry before we move on to the next stage. In the second part of the box basics, I've made two 2-inch cubes, and I just wanted to show you how by changing a couple of cut lines and score lines on the basic cube template, you can change the look of the box in terms of how the lid comes together. So we've got box 1, which has got the 2 flaps and the lid comes over the top, and we've got box 2 and it's the lid that has the flaps in place. Box number 1, which is this one, I've done a template so I can just show you the difference. So both of these sections of the box will be the same, and for this particular box we've got our front flap, which is sitting on the side nearest our glue tab, and then we have next to that our side flap. We have a space, which is this front of the box, and then we have our side flap. So this would be the cutting and scoring to make a box this way. I'm just going to move that one over slightly. If we bring in this box, so this has a full tuck-in lid, what we've done is we've removed the side flaps here, so they would have been here and here. We've shifted along the front of the box. If we think of these as columns, we've shifted the front from the 4th column across to the 3rd column, and we've added in 2 additional score lines to create the side flaps. So there may be a time when you look at a project and you think, okay, I don't actually want the lid to look like that. I would prefer the lid to look like that. This will give you an idea as to how you could adapt the template that you've been given so that you can actually get the look of the box and the look of the lid that you want. As long as changing the style of the lid is not going to change the overall concept of the box, you don't always have to follow the instructions that are on screen. So I'm just going to leave those there in case anybody wants to take a screenshot of that. And the last thing I wanted to cover was, I do often say at the start of the videos, it's not difficult to resize these, and I just want to go through how I work out what size cardstock you would need to make a certain size box, and just a couple of things to be aware of moving forward. I have a box here, box A, which is 3 inches high, 2 inches wide and 1 inch deep. And I want to show you how I would work out what size cardstock I would need to make a box that size. I would start by thinking about the sides, the 4 sides of the box. So I have the front of a box, which in this case is 2 inches wide, the side, which is going to be 1 inch, which is the depth, the back, again 2 inches, and the side, which is 1 inch. And then I need a glue tab to glue the piece together. So the starting point of my box is going to be width plus depth plus width plus depth plus glue tab. 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus a half equals 6.5. And that is going to be times the depth of the box, which is 1 inches, which is what I need for the base, plus the height of the box, which is 3 inches, plus the depth, which is going to give us the lid, plus a flap if you choose to have one. So it's going to be depth plus height plus depth plus flap, 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus half, which is 5.5. So to make a box this size, I've started with a piece of cardstock which is 6.5 by 5.5. Obviously, you will eventually get into boxes where you're needing to use 2 pieces of cardstock. If that is something which people might find useful, let me know in the comments and I will do a future video on that. So we have our box. Now, the one thing with this box is the glue tab to join the box together is at the front, providing you make sure that you cut enough of an angle into the side flaps and that you shape the front. It won't be an issue. You will be able to get the lid in. And there may be instances where you want the glue tab to be at the front. For instance, if you're going to cut an aperture into the front of the box and maybe have some acetate in here, and you don't want to be able to see any glue tabs inside the box at the back. So that's box A. On box B, I've remade the box, use exactly the same sizes. Box B has the glue tab at the back. So the glue tab is not interfering with any of the side flaps and it's not impeding the front flap of the lid going down inside the box. So for box B, where the tab is at the back, our glue tab and our sides are in exactly the same size as box A. What we have done is switch around the front and the back. So box A, where the glue tab is at the front, this is our front and this is our back. And on box B, we've flipped them round. The cutting then changes accordingly. But what that means is our tab is now at the back and is not impeding the box in any way. I'll just leave that on the screen so you can see the measurements, and I'll just fold this one over so you can see the difference. You'll see that I've put some numbers into what is the bottom section of the base. Regardless of whether you choose to put your back section down first and then your side flaps, or your side flaps in and your back section on top, the last piece of your base wants to be the piece which is adhered to the front of the box, because that is going to come down and that is going to give you a nice neat edge on the front. I appreciate today's video is a little bit different. I hope that there may be something in there which you found useful. If not, I hope that you will give the next project video a chance. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please consider doing so. And until next time, thanks for watching.